My guest today is Miss Olivia Farrell, the self-taught publisher and CEO of the award-winning weekly journal, Arkansas Business. Under Olivia's leadership, this business journal that she co-founded in 1984 grew to become a publishing conglomerate of roughly 30 title publications across 2 states. To better represent her expanding business, Olivia broadened the company name to Arkansas Business Publishing Group. Under this diverse business model, she grew the company revenues from $100,000, are you ready, to $8 million and over 70 employees. Last year, Miss Farrell did what I know must have been hard and sold her baby, Arkansas Business Publishing Group, to her savvy employee and maybe her biggest fan, Mitch Bettis. Together, they share the same business ethics of a family-friendly workplace, honorable business relationships, factual reporting, and service to others. Speaking to that, Olivia in 1998 co-founded with Miss Pat Lyle the Arkansas Women's Foundation, which works to ensure economic security for Arkansas women and girls. Today, we're going to hear Miss Farrell's story, a single mom with 2 children who broke rules and glass ceilings, first by appearing on the 1977 Arkansas Times Magazine cover, living it up in high-style edition with a lit joint, to becoming CEO and owner of Arkansas Business Publishing Group. It is a pleasure to welcome to the table the uniquely instinctive businesswoman who makes no excuses for her gender and has won many first-time Women's Success Awards, Miss Olivia Farrell.
Thank you so much, Kerry. I'm so delighted to be here.
Well, I'll just tell everybody that I've been trying to get you on, and I called you last year because you sold your business in February of 2019, and I called you up. We were just talking about this before the show, and I said, "Oh, Olivia, you got to come on and tell your story." And you said, "I'm not doing anything for 1 year." And at 1 year, I called you back and said, "Here we are." And also before the show, we talked about how you and I's paths have been so parallel, but yet we never really met each other. I mean, we knew about each other, but we never really met each other prior to today.
No.
Which I think's interesting.
No, actually, I did meet you once at Flag and Banner. You probably don't remember this because you were busy running
Flag and Banner.
Yeah. I was buying some flags.
Well, thank you very much.
I did meet you there, but that's been 100 years ago.
Yeah. Let's start at the beginning of your life. In one article I read, and I don't know which is right, I read you're a political science major, and then in another, I read you are a bachelor's degree in history and English. So which is it?
Well, I was a political science major, and then I decided, finishing college is going to be hard, and I love to read. So why don't I finish up with my English literature degree? And it just ended up that I had enough credit to get also a history. So it really was English and history.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're everything. She's everything?
Yeah.
Nowhere did I read that you studied journalism. So what were
your
plans when you were going? What did you think you were going to be when you grew up?
Yeah, okay. So this is really embarrassing. But I thought when I was leaving Europe, I went to school in Europe for a while. I thought, gosh, what I want to be when I finish school, do I want to work in a bookstore or a record shop? Because, that's such a hard choice, right? At the time, this was 77 or something like that. So those were my great aspirations at that point in time. Then it was just to get a job after I finished school. And Alan Leverrit, who at that time had started the Arkansas Times, tricked me into coming to work for him. He was my neighbor in a quadruplex. We lived in the Quapaw Quarter. And he kind of tricked me into coming to work with him at the Arkansas Times. And I made the 4th person on the team. So there were 4 of us in 1978. And I fell in love with the business, just fell in love with publishing. Everything.
He didn't just trick you into working there. He asked you to come in on the cover of a very controversial cover. You weren't even working for him when that happened, were you?
No. So I was his neighbor. And so he
you were living in downtown Little Rock?
Yes, upstairs from he and his girlfriend. And he said, I've got this cover. I want to actually do somebody smoking a joint. Would you mind? Because I'm the neighbor upstairs. And I said, sure, that'd be great.
You didn't think I'm going to get arrested? I mean, it's 1977. People were going to jail for stuff like that.
No. It was, and this is what's really funny, Kerry. My mother was so proud of that cover that she had it out on her coffee table.
She's in print. She's in print.
Can you imagine?
I love that so much.
Right. Yeah, I thought, I was a little concerned about that, but no, this is my daughter right there.
I love your mother, who's still alive. Shout out to Mom if you're listening. What was the article about? It was called "Living It Up in High Style" was the name of the cover that you were on.
Yeah.
So what was the article about?
Well, in 78, that was at the height of the consumption of marijuana, certainly. And what the article focused on was the fact that it was within high society, if you will, that, the wealthy and the rich were partaking. It wasn't just a youth drug, but that it actually made its way into the upper echelons of society.
Oh, living it up in high style.
Yes.
I see. So I heard your editor was Bill Terry, because Alan Leverrit was not the editor.
No, he was the publisher.
And so the editor, I heard, was a little upset that he did that, or did he know that y'all were going to do that cover?
No, he did. What he was concerned about was he was scared to death that I was going to get stoned while we were shooting the cover, because it was a live.
So you're smoking?
Yeah. No, I wasn't. It was lit. I wasn't inhaling. But he was very nervous. Every time we would do some shots, he would take it away from me, because he was afraid I'd get stoned while we were shooting. That was his only concern, I think.
Is the Times a magazine or a newspaper? And what's the difference?
Well, the Times, I guess I'd have to say, is a newspaper, because the Times is much, much more current than when we were a monthly magazine for 17 years. And as a monthly, we could sort of stand back and write from a little bit more of a perspective. But the Times is right in the middle of what's going on in terms of politics, in terms of culture, in terms of weekly music, live music, entertainment, dining. So I would have to say that it's much more of a newspaper than it was years ago.
So what's the difference between a magazine and a newspaper?
Well,
the spine? Because they fold differently, don't they?
Well, no, but a magazine is going to be, the magazine is going to be, first of all, graphically, it's going to be, you got more time. I mean, you can plan out. It's going to be less on breaking news. We're very, very oriented towards breaking news. So like several years ago, there was briefly an outbreak of violence on 12th Street. I forgot what was it? It was a shooting. Anyway, there was a riot, and in 24 hours, that was our cover story.
Yeah.
Whereas if it had been a magazine, that would have been 2 months later.
Yeah.
So we're covering the legislature. We have people out at the legislature. Max Brantley with the Arkansas blog, ArkansasTimes.com. His blog is he'll do 20 posts a day.
What?
Oh yeah. No, he'll be sitting there watching the live feed of the legislature and on the debates and everything. Plus, he knows where everybody is buried in the state of Arkansas. So. He can bring that 50 years of experience as a working journalist, his knowledge of the legislature and technology, and deliver really good, insightful.
Does anybody else do that? Do blogs, like 20 blogs a day from the legislature, or is he the only one?
No one's doing that right now in this market, and no one does it as persistently as Max does.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's really good. If you're interested in breaking news and breaking news from a really, really informed, left-of-center perspective, Max at ArkansasTimes.com, the Arkansas blog, is the place to go.
Is that free to be on the Arkansas Times?
Everything at the Arkansas Times is free except the Arkansas blog, and the Arkansas blog has a metered paywall. So, like, you can go there 10 times a month free of charge. And then we cut you off because we're trying to all of us live indoors. And as you said, technology is changing. And so we are trying to find new advertising revenues and new revenue streams. And what we found is that we need to be...
You need money.
We need money, yeah.
Technology is expensive.
People are expensive. People like Max who have the experience and the knowledge and the know-how. I've got to pay them. And so readers have got to step up and help pay that bill too, not just advertisers anymore.
When you look back over your time, is there something you're the most proud of that you did?
Two things. No, can I have 3?
Okay, 3.
Thank you.
What's that called when you have 3 things? It's got a...
There's a word for that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, come on.
I was really proud of these 5 annual publications that we created called the Top 100 Women. That was, I created because in Arkansas Business, doing an article about women serving on boards in Arkansas, one of the bank presidents who was asked, why don't you have any women on your board, answered, because there are no women qualified. Qualified. No women qualified. It still hurts me to this day.
Well, he just didn't know.
No.
He just didn't know.
He didn't. And so I determined at that point I was going to produce a magazine with 100 of the top women in Arkansas across a variety of fields, so that, and I was going to mail it to every single board member of every public board of directors in Arkansas, as well as to every Arkansas Business subscriber and reader. And so there were over 5,000 additional copies to boards of directors to say, the next time you have an opening, here are 100 women highly qualified to serve on your board. And I did, and my intention was to do it for 5 years, which we did. I was really proud of that. That was actually the instigator for Arkansas Women's Foundation, because we got all of the women together. I think it was the 4th year. We would have a luncheon and get all the women together. Incredible energy with those women in one room. And the consensus was that what we wanted to do with this power that was in that room was something that would help women and girls, and in particular interesting, it was kind of forward thinking, but in technology, in engineering, in the sciences and technology.
And this is 1998.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
That is forward thinking.
Yeah. And from that, it was really Pat Lyle who came to me and said, how about we start the Women's Foundation to do this? And I said, I love it. That's great. And from that, we launched an endeavor to, and it was based off the top 100 women. We went to them first and said, help us build this foundation.
Was that called The Power of the Purse? Or is that something else?
That was the event.
That was the name of the event. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, remember that, Power of the Purse.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So that would be one thing. Those are 1 and 2, that being the Top 100 Women magazine that I thought was really important, starting the Women's Foundation. And then the third thing was the quality of the culture that we built in the company. I'm really, really proud of that. I'm really, really proud of the products that were produced from that. I'm going to get teary-eyed. And I felt like those were really good jobs. We tried to pay at the highest level we could. All of our wages were very competitive, if not at the top of their stratus. And that was something I took a lot of pride in.
When this happened, it made you change how you wanted to do the Arkansas Times. You wanted to jump in and maybe...
It was very, very important. If you go back to the 1957 integration crisis, what saved Little Rock, in my opinion, in terms of sort of the soul of Little Rock, was while the community and the Arkansas Democrat basically had turned themselves over to the mob, the Arkansas Gazette took a very principled stand, went through a very, very difficult advertiser boycott, and said basically we need to follow the law here, the law of land disintegration. We need to integrate Central High School. For that reason, all the banks, the retailers, the department stores all walked out on the Gazette. They lost $1 million that year, and that was when $1 million was $1 million.
Yeah.
And the Gazette won the admiration of most of the journalists in the nation at that time because of the family's willingness to take that hit. And so when that newspaper was shutting down and its assets were being taken over by the old segregationist afternoon paper that was the Democrat, or that was their heritage, and it was a very conservative paper, I just felt like that we needed to keep that voice here in the community. And so I went out and Mara Leverett, my wife at the time, she said, well, why don't we take the magazine and turn it into a weekly newspaper? And I looked at it and I said, that's a great idea. So I raised $680,000 from 22 business people here in the community. And we took the monthly Arkansas Times Magazine to weekly and hired the senior staff of the Arkansas Gazette as they were hitting the streets.
Oh, so you gave people jobs.
Oh, yeah. We didn't give everybody a job, but we gave
The best.
a lot of people. George Fisher came to work for us, and Ernie Dumas, and Max Brantley, and a lot of people, yeah.
I bet that was a really exciting time in your life.
That's still exciting.
See, for the future of journalism, do you believe it's still an honorable profession?
I do. I definitely do. I'm sorry that has been so disparaged. I don't think it's fair for the mainstream media, who really are good, hardworking, ethical people, really trying to do the best that they can to report the news. So I think that's been a real problem for the country, because people don't know what to believe anymore. I mean, if you say that your information sources are all bad, and they're not, there really are more principled and ethical media sources than others. And if you say they're all bad, then people just withdraw from absorbing information in general, and then that makes for an educated electorate or community. So I totally disagree with that characterization of media as being all bad and fake
news,
and
fake
on
news.
the take and just doing it to sell a subscription, and it's just not the case.
So you think journalism is still a great, honorable profession that you can make a living at?
Totally.
So if you're speaking to a young adult wanting to pursue a career in journalism, what would you tell them?
Please do. If you're smart and you're ethical and you really care about your community or the community that you're serving, and you really want to do good, honest, hard work, please get into the profession.
And it's creative.
Oh, yes. And like investigation, I was reading an article about the private detectives today, and I thought, oh, man, am I too old to become a private detective? That
Yes.
sounded so cool. What
Well,
they
actually,
do now?
nobody would know you were a private detective because you would not look like one.
No,
at all.
no, I don't fit the part at all. But it's, you get to do investigating and research and digging and discovery, and it's an incredible profession. I love it.
If you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the picture of Kerry's face in the center of the screen. For more of Kerry's interviews, click either video on the right of the screen. And as always, thank you for watching.